What is a set of management accounts? You may have heard of this term, or management reports, and it can be a bit confusing if you really don't understand it. So, when a company, either a sole trader or a limited company, has been trading for a year, they produce a set of annual accounts. And for a limited company, they have to be sent off to Companies House, and HMRC want to have the tax that is needed on the profit made in that business. But there's a set of financial statements. And for a sole trader, you will have a set of accounts that tell you everything about the income and expenses and the assets and the liabilities for that business, and usually produced once a year. But management accounts, or management reporting, is for the owners of the business. This is information that you need to run the business. So these are accounts, but on a more timely, smaller basis, so monthly or quarterly. Now, I really love monthly management accounts because I think a lot can happen in a quarter in a business. So what do our management accounts include? So they start off with including a little description about some items that maybe we're missing. So things that we need to say, we're missing this invoice, or could you give us a bit more information about this payment that you've spent? Anything that we've not managed to tidy up before the management accounts were given to yourselves. And then we have some areas talking about tax, national insurance that you will have coming up soon. So if you're a limited company, it will talk about the corporation tax that you need to be putting aside, maybe for the year before, but also up to date for the month before. Whenever we have completed the last month's accounts, we're going to be telling you exactly the money you should be putting aside so that you can sleep at night knowing you've put it aside way ahead of time, ready to pay over to HMRC. And also that's the same for your personal tax. So if you're taking dividends, if you've got personal, like a sole trader business, and you've got profit in that business, and you're thinking, I don't know how much profit I've made, or I don't know how much tax I need to pay over on national insurance, we will be telling you that every month in the management accounts, which is so handy. You know, it's just such amazing foresight to know exactly where you're at and how much of the money in the bank actually doesn't belong to you and will be being paid over to HMRC. And lots of our clients set up separate savings accounts for things like personal tax and corporation tax. And then also you've got VAT. If you're a VAT registered business and you have quarterly VAT returns, wouldn't it be nice to know on month one of that quarter how much of that money you've made and how much of it needs to go aside for VAT? So you can start saving on a monthly basis. All of these things are amazing, helpful tools for you as a business owner. And then we go through something called a profit and loss variance analysis, which sounds really, really in depth. But basically what it is, it's telling you that you spent this amount of money on this last month, but this month you spent this amount of money, and this is the difference and the reasons why. So for example, if your salary bill went up massively from one month to the next, why was that? And we will say, well, that's because you took on 2 new staff members, and that was their increased wages and the increased bill that you've had to pay out. So we will just notify you of where we've seen variances or differences in your expenditure, and we will just let you know the reasons why that was behind there. Because I mean, you mostly will read it, and as the business owner will know instinctively what that is, but sometimes we forget these things, or things pop up, and as your business gets bigger, you might not know where your money is always going, and that's our job to explain that to you. And then we have the profit and loss account. So the profit and loss account is all about the income, the sales, and then the expenses below, and you're left with either a profit or a loss. And we explain to you everything that's going on, where the money's going. And we also talk about something called a net profit percentage and gross profit percentage, the percentages of how much sales you've made and how much of that is actually profit. What percentage of your sales were profit? And that's a really handy, what we call KPI, a key performance indicator, because sometimes when sales go up or sales go down, were you able to maintain that profit percentage and still have a profitable business or not? So things like that can be really helpful. I mean, we can put whatever you want into your management report because it's your report. If you want us to put in there what your Instagram followers numbers are, or LinkedIn connections, or how many people you've got on your email list, we can put that in there as well. We also then have the balance sheet. The balance sheet is all about the assets and liabilities in the business, what you own, the assets, and what you owe, the liabilities. And your assets take away the liabilities. So if you sold everything that you owned and then you paid off everything that you owed, you'd be left with what we call net assets, or the bottom line of the balance sheet. And you want to have that in a positive position. You want to own more than you owe. And so we keep an eye on that, and we tell you about the changes in that bottom line on the balance sheet, and if it's improving or if it's getting worse. But I'm glad to say the majority of our clients, that's always improving, which means the value of their business is always improving. And that's what our job is, to help you and to signpost you and let you know before anything bad happens, that all of these things, by reading these numbers and understanding them, you can tell if there's anything that's coming up that's causing your business an issue, and you can sort it out ahead of the game. The thing is, when we wait for 12 months to find a set of accounts, if I read them and understand them, you're not going to get them at month 12, you might get them at month 16, 17 by the time it's been prepared by the accountant. And then you're looking back at really old data. So this is why I love management accounts. It really helps me in my business, and I use it in my business. And I really, really do think that you need to use it in yours if you want to grow and you have ambition to get more profitable and take more money out of the business in the future for whatever your business has been set up to do for you.